Today we continue with the Spring Boot 3.0.0 Data JPA tutorial. In part 2 of this series, we will create the first relationship between two tables. We start with a one-to-one relationship. In our example, this is a relationship between member and address. One-to-one relationship means that each member has one address, and each address has one member. First, we discuss the unidirectional one-to-one relationship. This is a relationship that works in one direction. In our example, this means that the relationship can only be accessed from member. Then we extend the relationship to bidirectional one-to-one. In this type of relationship, a member has one address and an address has one member. This relationship works in both directions. Now we can go to Eclipse to look at the code. Back in Eclipse, we can look at the code. First up is the new entity class, address. This class has the same structure as the member class. Let's go over the components. At class level have 6 annotations. Entity is a mandatory annotation. The name property is optional. The table annotation is used to change the default settings. Here we use the name property. The builder, data, no args constructor and all args constructor are annotations of Lombok. In the class we have the following fields: ID, street, number, zip code, city and phone number. The ID annotation is mandatory. All other annotations we use to change the default settings. About the address repository interface we can be brief. This interface extends JPA repository and makes the connection with the database. We also have the Spring repository annotation here. The next class is the member entity class. This class is the same as in part 1. Only the field that is important for the one-to-one relationship has been added. We have a new field address, of type address. This field has 2 important annotations. The one-to-one annotation indicates which relationship we want to create. Cascade all allows us to create and delete an address from the member class. Orphan removal is equal to true, allows us to when we delete a member also the address is automatically deleted. Fetch type eager means that when we load a member from the database the address of this member is automatically loaded. The join column annotation configures the relationship. Here we create a field in the member table called address ID to indicate which address belongs to the member. The reference column name is the name of the ID field of our member class. Here it is simply ID. Now we can look at the command line runner, bean. As you know from previous tutorials, this bean is automatically started at project startup. First we create 3 new members with corresponding address. We create the relationship by adding an address in the member builder. After creating 3 new members, we do a find all with the member repository. We write the result to the console as error. Soon you will see the result in the console when we start the project. We create a 4th member, again followed by a find all with the member repository. Here we also do a find all using the address repository. The following is an update of member with ID 1. Back followed by a find all with the member repository. Then we have a find by email, a find all by last name, and a find by ID 5. Now we can start our project and see the result of the code in this command line runner. After starting our project, we can view the results of the code in the command line runner. First we see which queries are created to create a new member with address. First, Hibernate must determine the value of the following ID. Then create one address and only then one member. This order is important because the ID of the address needed in the member table. After that we do a find all with the member repository. As you can see, Hibernate first loads a list of members. And then for each member it retrieves the address. Below the queries you can see the result, 3 members with their addresses. Furthermore, we create a new member with a find all again, with the member repository. If we do a find all with the repository address, you will see that only the addresses are loaded without the member. This is because we created a one-way relationship. The address table has no link to the member table. Next we do an update. As you can see, a lot happens here. First, member and address are loaded, then a new address is created. Then the member is updated. And then the old address is deleted. We then do another find all with the member repository. Then a find by email. With the find by last name, 2 addresses are loaded. This is because there are 2 members with the same last name. Finally, we do a find by ID of the address repository. After the setup of the unidirectional one-to-one relationship worked out well, we now move to the bidirectional. Modifying a unidirectional to bidirectional one-to-one relationship is simple in itself. We just need to add the member field to the address entity class. The member field has one annotation: one-to-one, with the mapped by property. However, after starting our project, we get an error. The error we get is not from the database, but from toString, method of the address and member classes. The reason in itself is simple. Because each member has an address and each address has a member, you get a chain reaction. We can solve the error by modifying the print function. We modified the printout of the find all of the member repository and the find all of the address repository and did not use the string of Lombok. As you can see, everything works fine now. So this was it for today. Thank you for following. The next tutorial in this series is the one-to-many relationship. Thank you. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.